Okay. I hope you guys can hear me right.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Yes, I hear each one of you. I think we should start now. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Today we got a nice Saturday. You guys are Saturday. Of course, we African, we are ahead of you. We are on Sunday. And that would be good afternoon to those who are listening to us through YouTube, and also who can join us on our Zoom panel discussion. I would like to just say that in Ethiopia, most of social media are not working. YouTube is not at work. Instagram and Telegrams, I believe, only one thing is working, I believe it would be TikTok. So that's why I'm not playing any music. In fact, I'm playing my videos from my laptop. Yeah, thank you so much for coming in. Let me give you microphone so each one of you guys gonna introduce, and then I'm gonna move on to our panel discussion for the day. Thank you so much. My name is Yohane Paro Imani from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Here we are at 2 in the morning. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Go ahead, Keith. I'll allow you to go.
Keith Williams. I've been in finance for the last decade on middle market, small commercial real estate level. Finance that I'm a real estate developer, Philadelphia metropolitan area, and also a real estate developer in West Africa, working on construction projects.
Okay, Keith, you're breaking up just a little bit.
Hear me now?
Yes, slightly delayed, but yes, brother, we can hear you.
So
okay, go ahead.
Leave off.
I'm sorry, it's kind of breaking up still just a little bit here.
Okay.
All right, I'll go ahead and introduce myself, and then we can get started. We'll give you a chance to adjust whatever you guys need to. And good evening and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Brother Eugene Telford with the New Africa Network Broadcast and Media Company. We're based out of Addis Ababa, but I am the co-chair of the organization based here out of Charlotte, North Carolina. We'd like to welcome you, brothers and sisters, who are tuning in this evening. And I don't know if you heard Brother Keith Williams, but Brother Keith Williams, he is here. He's an investment banker, a commercial banker, and is here this evening to discuss a little bit about what's going on in Sierra Leone and in Ghana with the investment opportunities, bringing the Afro diaspora information, vital information that we can cross-share all across the diaspora. So welcome, and I appreciate you gentlemen for having me as a host here on the program this evening. Black Power.
Black Power, thank you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It's gentlemen's day. I don't have a lady day for coming in. So now, Mr. Keith, it's nice to see you again. I think we had a conversation before, but I never see you in person. I don't really know why you always stick in West Africa. You don't come to the East.
Well, it'd be easy for Black Americans. I mean, cool connection to West Africa, closer flight to East Africa and other parts of the continent.
Very good. Yeah, so it seems like we're gonna have a problem with your microphone, I think. I don't know which one is coming on and off, but let's continue. Maybe we'll figure out or we'll fix that later on. Yeah, so now yeah, so now been talking to you, Eugene. How is going in the US there? What's new?
Thank you, brother. Yes, this has been a very exciting week, and we have certainly been chugging along here with the Black Nation movement. You know, there's been some very exciting things. This past week, I was invited to the All African People's Revolutionary Party conference that took place at Johnson C. Smith University, which is a historical Black college and university. And these dynamic young brothers and sisters came together to discuss some of the issues that are engaged in with the movement, but also enlightening brothers and sisters in the student and the faculty of what's taking place in West Africa, where they're residing at, which is Guinea-Bissau. And the sister, her name is hold on one second. I've got a little brain dead there, but I'm coming back. Sister India Pitts, she invited us in to be a part of the organization, but I was also able to share a little information about the New African Network and the young brothers and sisters. They were very enlightened to what we're doing as far as a media platform for Black people to be able to express themselves, but also a platform that is built and designed for us, which we call FUBU, and for us, by us, where we're able to voice and share information across a broadcast that belongs to us. And it is a safe broadcast system that we put together, and especially from through you, Brother Amani Jean Paul. So we'd like to thank you for that, and all the dynamic brothers and sisters in Ethiopia who has been instrumental contributors to what we're doing here in the West.
Thank you.
And I think we have Brother Keith is back.
Yeah, I'm hoping
I put him back.
you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you, no problem.
Okay, good.
All right, moving on. So yeah, thank you so much, Brother Eugene, for that. I hope maybe one day the school will invite me to be a special guest over there. So, Brother Eugene, what are you drinking this evening?
I have a little cappuccino that I'm sipping on. You know, it need a little something extra. It need a little something extra, but I'm just sticking with the caffeine for right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's like you're drinking some kind of cognac or something like that.
Oh yeah, I wish a little cognac was in there, but it's just a basic cappuccino. That's all it is. You know, my wife went out and purchased a new cappuccino maker, so that's all we've been drinking cappuccinos all week.
Very good. Yeah. So, Keith, go ahead now. Let me back to you. So tell us a little bit about you especially in West Africa, as you were saying, because I think a lot of people are interested to know exactly what's going on in West Africa. I mean, Sierra Leone and Ghana.
A little backstory. I've been traveling back and forth since January 2019 was the in Accra, Ghana. Just to go to the continent to get a chance to learn more about the culture, and obviously coming from the continent and being but over the years, just started to realize that Africa had some regard to agriculture, in regard manufacturing, real estate, and it just kind of put me in a situation. And over the years, I ended up in West Africa, in Ghana, and I'm also working on building called Apollonia City, multi-family development partnership with another company called Joamac, West Africa, for close to a decade. And we only is it a great opportunity to offer a housing region that has large housing deficits, but also can contingent people like me that homes in West Africa, and I want to be the
Well, thank you, brother, for that information. Go ahead, Bonnie.
Yes. So now, first of all, why as I believe you are born in America and you are African American, that's how you guys they call you, but I call you Africans who are born outside of Africa. Why are you interested in African ways?
I think number one, we have an ancestral tie, specifically West Africa, and that's why But beyond that tie, immense economic opportunities. Leave if you're interested in making money, live in. If you're not invested on the continent, significant mistake. There are opportunities that are wide open. Seeing it, and that's mainly where my interest lies.
Okay, so you're looking for opportunities in Africa. There is more opportunities than compared to other places. Maybe people will be interested to invest. Do you find it more easier to do your work in some Western African countries compared to the from West African countries compared to African countries, or what?
Sorry, do I find it easier to do business in West African
Yeah,
countries?
compared to like if you were doing the same thing in France or in Germany or in Canada or something.
Business is not as easy. A lack of data. There's some deal with land title seems to be like West Africa, but that's also part of the reason that these problems, if you can provide solutions to create opportunities, that's why I'm invested, and that's why I think everybody who are should be looking at the continent as a place to. Our job as investors to try to make that process easier to want to come in and invest. West Africa is there's a lack of clarity, and just that process is grainy in general. Solve that issue, there'll be more investment come. A title issue is essentially a trust issue, right? Buy a home, you don't have to trust the counterparty on the other side. Trust is embedded in the system. That's something that I'm trying to bring. It's something that I want to capitalize on.
I see. So, one time I was listening to Brother Tariq Nasheed when he's talking about that when you're trying to do something, he was kind of criticizing, but in kind of political correctness, the whole idea of Pan-Africanism. He said that anytime you're trying to do something in Africa, they put so much restrictions. Sometimes they will even block you to be able to do that. And then he said that, what do you think about that? I don't know if you ever see that clip. I had that in my laptop. I think I still have it, but I can't find it now. So what do you think about that?
I think in my particular instance, I think for me is benefit. I think, and I hear a little noise. But yeah, I think Pan-Africanism and access to benefits and resources, and I think West Africa is doing a good job of that early on, because they're offering citizen Americans and people from the diaspora. And for me, I don't know what anybody else defines it as. To me, that's of it. What benefits are you going to provide, give us to make us comfortable in making an investment in countries in West Africa or any place? I think there seems to be a lag.
Thank you, brother, for that information. I think Brother Monty dropped off for a few seconds, but he should be back in with us. Of course, the there is always an internet problem in Africa, and that's certainly something that our brothers and sisters are working on now, those that are in the IT technology business, to see how we can bring better internet service to the continent. But yeah, certainly, we want to take our hats off to the president of Ghana, Nana Addo, for certainly leading the path in Pan-Africanism. And Ghana has certainly been a beacon of light that has shed its light on many of our African brothers and sisters who are in the diaspora to come there, live, work, and play, bring investment. There's a lot of business opportunities that do exist. We also want to take our hat off to our brother Julius Mata, who is the current president of Sierra Leone. And Julius has certainly been making great strides in the repatriation, bringing in the African diaspora as a part of its initiative to increase economic expansion in Sierra Leone. And this brother has been very dynamic and been on the Pan-African move, along with the rest of the West African states, the economic communities of West Africa. And I'm not going to leave out East Africa neither, because the brothers and sisters are working very hard and diligent to bring the Afro diaspora into their regions as well, as a part of the jumpstart of the African Industrial Revolution. So as we all coined the principle that Black economics is Black power, and we certainly see that for ourselves as the new breed leader, African generation, leading us in as a part of the generation of the 21st century. So let's get into a little discussion about the Ghana and your experience. And you've been there for quite a few years now, with bringing in commercial investment as financing, as well as real estate development. And I understand that you are kind of have a development in the Aubrey Hills region. Can you tell us a little bit about how that is coming along for you so far, and what type of partners were you able to get engaged with to assist you with just being boots on the ground? Black Power, brother.
So the development is in a place called, which is essentially a master plan right outside of Accra. It has secure, litigation-free land, parks on the way. They have conference centers. They have building in a specific development, and 25 unit multi, which is going to break ground sometime next month, with a company called Jobomax to kind of help me. And we also have some partners on the ground. Those partners on the ground have elements like Mensa Park towards a bridge. I'm not sure how familiar you are, but it's been amazing, just development in general in West Africa, and kind of development from the states, and development from to the different construction products. Different. I mean, in the states we use wood frame construction. West Africa is concrete based. So it's been amazing so far.
Yeah, man. Well, we've certainly been keeping an eye on Ghana, and Ghana is a place where there are many African Americans are starting to flock to, and that comes since the year of 2019 with the Year of Abode, welcoming the African diaspora to come there to see a little bit about what's going on in Ghana, but also sharing cultural exchange through the many arts and culture that we share amongst each other as African people. And I think they just had a big conference there, the Black Star Conference that took place in January, with Chance the Rapper and Meek Mills and many brothers and sisters from the African diaspora, come there to get their party on. And man, I wish I could have been there around that time. But certainly we're going to be making an initiative to come to Ghana before the year is out. Matter of fact, that is currently in play. and especially with us not being able to, the New Africa Network was supposed to meet with the African Union coming up this March for the General Assembly meetings, but just based on some of the things, political things that have taken place, that we have to change our plans. But Ghana has certainly extended an olive branch out to us to bring a delegation of 100 people, prominent folks from the United States, in which we are still going to continue to move towards. And we will certainly be announcing that at some point in time before the year is out, to give our brothers and sisters what day do we plan to meet and have the New Africa Network African Economic, Political, and Economic Conference in Ghana. So, Brother Monty, I'll go ahead and yield the mic to you, brother. And if you have any other questions to ask Brother Keith, go ahead and jump in.
Yes, I got some question. The question one is, did you encounter any kind of little challenge from the time you've been doing business or investment in both Sierra Leone and Ghana? Did you meet any challenge?
Yeah, there's definitely challenges. Process. There's just challenges with any. Some of those challenges were around, and we can purchase, avoid of any issues or litigation issues, because obviously the plan is very difficult to get investors to be able to build developments. Or we found that there's good legal representation, which has been helpful in our. But beyond that, I mean, I wouldn't say I have in West Africa outside of titles. Of course, there's a lack of data. The one thing we have in West Africa is huge housing deficits. And those deficits are that there's so much need for housing. There's really no competition. You can come in as a developer and you can build because there's a need on the continent. But what needs to be, where I think the focus needs to be, a better job at that as a company, is focusing on a lot of the housing that's being built in a place like servicing, middle income individuals, but we need to get our prices to really hit at those housing deficits, and more developers coming in and can affordable financing for the local. I think that's the key.
Would you say that, do you guys have any loan stuff? I mean, like banks that can give loan, like who I saw in the Western? Because here, I think the house you want to buy, you pay cash. Is that the same thing, you guys?
Everything is a credit-based system. I love the fact that on their stuff, right? There's no financing available to do in time when you don't have financing cash to go purchase a home. So what we've done is we provide financing on all of the homes that we build, more competitive than what you can find in West Africa. We'll finance up to 10 years, well below what you can get in any bank in Ghana. So I think it's needed. We didn't have to borrow so much, but that's just the economics.
And how about if they like the documentation? If you find someone house and then you get credit, and then they vanish, what do? You can't find them anymore.
That's for us. It's kind of how we protect ourselves. Put up a significant down payment, percent of the minimum, and for most people, I mean, the purchase price, I mean, you're not going to run unless you're crazy. So that seems to work out. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that as you were saying about the documentation in Africa, we don't have this kind of social security stuff or record where you know who is who with their driver license and address and the background of someone and criminal stuff. We don't have that here in Africa. Most of countries have been to, and I don't even think we need that anyways. Because that makes more governments and private institutions to control people's lives. But also it is another question, another side, because you don't know where someone live, you don't know where they work, you don't know how they can disappear.
It's a good question. It's not been an issue yet, and the reason it hasn't, most of the customers that we're servicing in Sierra Leone live in the West, so we're able to access that documentation. Challenges once we expand, and once we housing that locals can take advantage of, kind of have to learn the tricks of the traders a little more closely. We haven't got horizon.
And so you mean that the housing you guys are providing, or whatever business you are providing, most of the time you are doing between people who are from West with you guys. Is that right?
Well, the diaspora, these are Sierra Leoneans that live in the Ghanaians that live in the UK or live in this. Typically been the demographic of customer that we work with. What you see is a lot of the developments, at least in Ghana, flagship developments are being sold to the recent good, right? It's an avenue where we can make money. Where companies are really dropping the balls, they're not housing option, which is needed to on the continent, and thinking about delivering a product that's 10 to 20, you're really not serious about providing housing on the continent.
Okay.
Where it certainly seems like this generation has been working toward to put a system in place, and especially those Ghanaians who are now have invested education as well as experience in the banking industry. And it seems like with that coming into place in the 21st century, it will begin to put in other measures to where it can track land lots that are being sold through surveying, but also keeping records and deeds and titles, who owns what piece of land. And we know that this is something that is highly needed in many of the African nations. And so we take our hats off to our brothers and sisters who are working towards putting that in place, in connection with putting government rules and regulations that are and agreements in place with the government to be able to control its assets. Certainly, we are looking forward to assisting you with what it is that you need as far as bringing more attention to your organization. Can you tell us a little bit about the background and the makeup of your corporation or company, so that our viewers and listeners could to be able to identify what you do, and also a contact number or email address?
Sure. So the company I have is Single Estate Development Company, mainly servicing Ghana, where we're building a development in a place called, it's going to be 25 units, multifamily, with a company named Max, and you can .com. That's where you're able to contact us if you're interested in property in Ghana. It's my first project on the continent at scale. We have property in Ghana that I rent for farms, but that's my main
Right. Well, since I've been putting together some business plans with the African Diaspora Development Institute with is currently being headed by Dr. Ericana Chiramera, former ambassador of the African Union. She has a smart city project that is currently taking place in Ghana, known as the Wakanda One project, and it is going to be built right off of as a part of the Cape Coast region of Ghana. And we are looking forward to coming over there, working with her. I've actually been in touch with several people through the Ministry of Industry and Trade and Industry. I believe his name is Dr. Janapur or something like that. Gentleman has been bringing vital information to the African diaspora about how businesses can get engaged with many of the opportunities that are taking place, especially through, like we said, the new smart city projects that will need a tremendous amount of the Afro diaspora participating in that particular contracting opportunity. And so, yeah, we definitely want to get our brothers and sisters who are interested out there that's a part of the New Africa Network, but also brothers and sisters in the African diaspora, which have certain skill sets and information that could be vital to helping the African diaspora get more engaged. Be right back with you, brothers.
Thank you so much. So I think I see what you guys are doing there in Ghana and Sierra Leone, and you say that the reason why you choose Sierra Leone, not Nigeria, or maybe Zambia or Gambia or Senegal, is because of connection, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was initially attracted to just from a historical standpoint. Obviously, Kwame Nkrumah I admire. He went to Lincoln University, which is the reason that I traveled there. And but typically, we West Africa, just based on historical contact, just in general on the continent, I think other countries start to look at the diaspora to look to attract us, even if we don't have that historical. Obviously, we have the investment dollars and being in many different countries around the continent. I think is really going to open up doors. And what Sierra Leone is doing by providing way to it, I think is critical us to the continent. I mean, for me, that is, you have the same rights and privileges as a local. Invest freely. You're able to come in and set up your corporation, and I think that's important to kind of pushing economic agenda on the continent. So whether it's like Ethiopia, Tanzania, I think these countries should start to think, Black Americans, Caribbeans, any Black person in the diaspora, look at that.
Okay, yeah, I think that's actually a fact that me personally, I believe that we should unite first before we start to bring people in from diaspora, because it's so confusing when you have to deal with different regulations. If you live from Sierra Leone, as you're saying, and you go to Nigeria or Niger or Chad or Cameroon, or you go to Congo trying to do business there or to invest, you're trying to help, by the way. Not even you're not even seeking your personal gain. And then you found there is so many different systems in place. There's things that, but if you were united, it would be like you are living from California, you're going to do investment in Philadelphia or some other places. So what do you think about that? Why don't we actually focus the major big picture, and rather than to just trying to invest in this slighted and divided continent?
is the key to unlock Africa's growth potential. And I think the free trade attempting to allow us to have free trade, that's a step in the right direction. But I think also having common rules and regulations is in order for people to be able to move back and forth. Now, to your point, not only do you have to deal with different cultures, you got to deal with different currencies. You have to deal, and that can be confusing. You know, intra-Africa trade is so low. We have to get to a place where there's one currency. Language may be difficult for that. I've seen your work, but we have to get, if we want to advance and the next generation.
Okay, yeah. So now, do you think that we need to? You say there is different culture, which is, by the way, is a blessing for Africans, rather than being a curse. A lot of people do not understand that when you have different culture, you get a chance to enjoy different food. You get a chance to enjoy different.
You do.
Yeah, you get a chance to enjoy different clothes, you know, different dance and all of that. Is just, I found that to be fun, in fact, and very, very good. Yeah, especially here in Ethiopia, you have like at least 20 different clothes that you can put on, so that, you know, so it's a lot of Africans specifically, they do not see that to be good. Instead, they see that to be almost like something to fight for, rather than something to actually be grateful for. So and so when it comes to the culture and the traditionals and the languages is the one of the other most of difficult place. I think maybe the reason why I choose Sierra Leone and Ghana is because maybe the language as well, you can be able to communicate. Is that the reason why, or what?
It's a beautiful thing, and I think we should celebrate that as people. And that is that we have to get to a place where we have at least laws and rules and regulations. So, and trade with other countries. And that's what's in it right now. But to your point, I love just on the continent, just in Ghana, places like Sierra Leone, about people. You get to eat the food, you get to do in your part of the town, and I think that's really me realizing that, you know, even I bring an individual continent. So, and I love being able to share that with.
And you talk about African Continental Free Trade Area. First of all, what is do you think that is even something is possible?
It's been enacted. I'm not sure if it's actually at this point to the full capacity. Actually, it's a great idea, right? Being able to have trees, because the continent has a lack of trade, which I touched on. But there needs to be done for this to work at its full capacity. I think the continent obviously has the raw whatever they need to do in regard to manufacturing, in regard to inventions. We just have to.
Yeah, for sure, my brother. And that's some of the dialogue that is often discussed with us, brothers and sisters. What is it that we can do to help bridge the gap? And the Continental African Free Trade Initiative was put into place. It's only been in place for a couple of years now, which was made it official. And so it is certainly in its early stage, but it is a beginning process to lower some of the borders that have kept many of the countries from trading cross-border with one another. As you know, that with the policies and procedures that have been put into place by the colonial powers, most of the raw materials have been exiting the countries, and they go all the way across sea to those nations and processed into finished and ready-made products, and then sold back to the Africans, where this is certainly a get over that we, the new breed leader generation, understand. And now, as we are coming to play a major role in a part of, we call ourselves the vanguard of those mineral resources that are being extracted, being able to put things in place like manufacturing that will help us further the economic system along and bridging the gap with between the African nations. Certainly, the AFCTA is located in Ghana. Its headquarters in Ghana. The African Continental Free Trade Initiative headquarters. The actual division itself is based out of Ghana. So we're hoping to get more of our brothers and sisters to learn a little bit more about this institution and how they can be a part of that. I also say this too because there are many contracting opportunities that come out of being associated with a organization or agency such as that, in combination with the African Development Bank and the major banks that are engaged directly into bringing funding for certain types of projects. And certainly we talk about infrastructure, telecommunications, real estate development, the list goes on and on. And so where do you see yourself going in the future as a new leader that's taking on that responsibility to put certain things in place, like being able to obtain financing? And I say this because the African diaspora living in the Babylonian nations have become accustomed to doing things a certain way, such as banking, and how the government is a part of that interaction for solidifying the protection of the actual consumer themselves. Where do you see your company assisting the government into bringing in, new constitutional measures as well as amendments to the current constitution, where it can begin to get certain things like this in place to safeguard and protect its people?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, focus is continuing to build housing product that people want to buy, people want to enjoy within it, building it as well, making sure we deliver on schedule, that making sure we're involved in implementing procedures to make the titling issue on some ways to kind of make that blockchain has been spoken about, putting the title on the transfer and no one can still. I think once that's worked out, that if they go to purchase a piece of land, that they're going to get that piece. I think you're going to see an explosion in the real estate sector. Back is lack of trust, and the mechanism you put in place will enable people to have more focusing on title is one area specifically to make transactions more seamless. Affordable financing. I think the affordable, especially in the West, where we're in a certain and just in most countries, you're looking at rates of and up on a mortgage, and then that is based on monetary policy in those countries. In the West, can look at the continent as a place, but also undercut the current rates that people. Of course, how that works out, I'm not sure from a regulatory standpoint. Then I also want to work on to make sure we push the housing, affordable financing. Beyond that, manufacturing there's great potential for value add products. Cocoa industry in Ghana, the fact that and other countries are making this. The fact that Nigeria is shipping out so much petroleum, import masses of it to fuel vehicles, and I know they've been meant to build the refineries, but they had a much larger effort to be able to truly deliver.
Right, right. Well, big up to Nigeria. Nigeria has just brought online a major refinery that it cost billions of dollars to build. And a big up to Dangata, the Dangata Group. They've also, as a part of the Continental African Free Trade Initiative, is currently developing a pipeline that extends all the way from Angola up the coast to Morocco. And certainly it is a big push right now to put African fuels processing, fossil fuels in processing to where it can be transformed from the raw material to finished and ready-made products such as oil, gasoline, diesel fuel, and jet fuel, as well as agricultural product producing fertilizer, pearl fertilizer. And that group, Dangata, has been doing a great job. We've been keeping an eye on them for the past 5 years since the project was first broken ground there in Nigeria. We also see Nigeria as being a major player in the both financial as well as material processing arena, manufacturing, and it's certainly been making great strides to be a part of that ECOWAS nation unification process that is currently taking place. We see that, excuse me, also taking place with the East African Economic Federation as well, with many of the dam that has just was open in Ethiopia with supplying electricity for the area. And certainly that is a great move in supplying efficient electricity to the whole continent. And we see these barriers are slowly coming down. And as us being that generation who is now in the chair, we certainly see ourselves in the forefront of making this realistic and making it happen, make it happen on our watch and time. Now let's go into a little bit of information and share your experience about what's taking place in Sierra Leone. I know Sierra Leone is also opening its doors for the African diaspora from what it's been learning from the jumpstart of the African Industrial Revolution and also the Year of Abode that was put into place by Ghana. So I see many of the ECOWAS nations are starting to follow trend. Tell us a little bit about your experience in Sierra Leone and tell us a little bit about the culture and the relationship you've developed there as well.
Just commend Sierra Leone have citizenship program. It's probably the most citizenship program in West Africa. Essentially, we can ancestry test. If you have DNA from Sierra Leone, then it puts you into contingent programs, which happen every November. And you go in the country for 2 weeks, chance to learn about the cultures. You get a chance to taste the food, about business opportunities in the country, and then after you shake his hand and you walk away with a passport. Just that experience to be able to get a chance to meet the president, the opportunity in Sierra Leone firsthand. Beautiful, great. I had a chance to meet the Mende people in a town called Bo in Sierra Leone, and that was an amazing trip. Lot of, and the food is really good. It's probably the best that I've tasted in Africa. But it is for me. So
that's what's up, man. Well, to give our listeners and viewers a little bit of information about Sierra Leone, is a country southwest coast of West Africa. It shares borders with surrounding Guinea, and it is a tropical climate environment. The major capital city is Freetown, and it is a republic. And so hats off to our brothers and sisters who may be tuning in from Sierra Leone, Freetown. A little information that we gave earlier about the president is President Julius Mata, and he is the currently in office. And certainly this brother has taken initiative and stride to bring down some of the barriers that have been put in place by the colonial powers. And we're talking about neo-colonial powers too, when you come to uniting and unification of the people. The GDP for 2018 was 3.8 billion, with a per capita, which is 505 US. The actual currency is the Sierra Leone, I believe it's the CSL or CFA or something like that, which is currently a part of their economy. Also, we want to give a little information about Ghana, which is also, it is a country. It's a Republic of Ghana, which is located on the west coast of Africa. It is on the Gulf of Guinea and also a part of the Atlantic Ocean. To the south, you have the Ivory Coast, which is also known as Cote d'Ivoire, and as west to it is Burkina Faso, and also north is Togo. So yeah, we give a big shout out to our brothers and sisters. That country is President Nana Addo, which has been in office for several years now, and the continental, I think the population is 3.2 million people living in Ghana, with a GDP since 2020 is 226 billion, with a per capita of 8,343. And that's a pretty large population of people who are living there. And yeah, so we certainly want to keep in touch with you all for what you're doing. You know, we often say that we are the new breed leader, African generation, and it is very important for us to understand this. And as a part of the new breed leader, African, the New Africa Network have a creed, whereas that I am an African, regardless of where I'm born, where I live, my tribe, my religion. Africa is my identity. God bless Africa. I'm African. So, Brother Mike, you know, we've been talking about hosting this conference, reorganizing to bring the African diaspora to Africa. And so we certainly look forward to working with the brothers and sisters in Ethiopia, Tanzania, Kenya, and also we've grown our network to even expand into Egypt now, with many of our Nubian brothers and sisters from Sudan who have become a part of the network. We started out as a group of 100 people, can you believe it, just meeting at the African Union headquarters here in Washington, D.C. back in 2019. Within a 4-year time period, it grew to 300,000. And now we have a reach of more than 3 million people all across the world who is tied into the New Africa Network, coming in to see how we can bridge the gap between brothers and sisters in the African diaspora with brothers and sisters on the continent for sharing, cross-sharing political information, cross-sharing information about business and trade. And certainly business and trade will help foster the unification of our brothers and sisters and bringing down some of those barriers that have been held up in place by the colonial imperialists. But certainly we would want to have you back on the show very near in the future to continue to share your experience, because that is very important. It all starts with conversation. And through these conversations, we are able to discuss some of the problems that exist in Black communities worldwide, but also coming up with solutions. What can we do as individuals to be able to bring forth solutions to many of the problems that had put us in the conditions that we are from the powers that be. But Brother Money and myself, we are going to be making a determination of which country that we're going to be bringing the conference to the Afro Diaspora Political Economic Think Tank coming up before the year end. And we certainly want to have you to be a part of the catalyst and bridge for the brothers and sisters to be able to be engaged from Ghana and Sierra Leone, in which you have boots on the ground. So Black power to you, brother, and a big hat off to you, man. A big salute for what you're doing, man. And certainly as we are beginning to enlighten more brothers and sisters who have the education, background, and experience to make things happen on our watch, certainly brothers like you in the financial business could be a major catalyst for making this happen on our watch in time. Brother Money, I'll yield the mic to you. And if there's anything else you'd like to discuss with Brother Williams, feel free to do so. Black power.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I do. One thing I want to talk about is organized Black people, because the only failure that Black people we have faced for the past 500 years is disorganized. It's not based on whether we are strong or not, we are intellectually or not, we have resources or not, or education or not. It's based on disorganized. So how can we trust on you guys who are doing investment to be organized? Because once you guys are organized, let's say like you have a team of people who are doing business in Africa, a team of 200 people, just 200 individuals from diaspora who are doing different business in Africa, and you are on one code, which means that your investment is actually has a license, because if one country does not treat you right or good, or all Africa in general, you can just stop and say, hey, we're not doing business with you guys at all unless you give us this. So are you guys, do you ever think to organize yourself, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think to organize, like I think we do that has been the $1 million question. We haven't figured out how to do it so far. One thing that we can kind of look at it, the continent first. We have to put, and I think if we can do that, follow. All, you know, when American companies their production off to China did that based on being able to generate more money, being able to impress the shareholders, because if we offload like China, labor is a lot cheaper. But what we did in that same cycle is jobs from American people, you know, in chase of profit. I would say is we should always put ourselves first before, not chase dollars per se. Do that exactly, but for me that's the key. Those first, even over the economic gains. That's a hard thing to do, but I think that's the key.
Very good. Yeah, as you know, your business has no insurance unless you guys are organized, because anything can change anytime in these African countries. As I told you, that's why we need the big picture, which is United States of Africa, that no one single label will come and overthrow the government in 1 week. No one single ethnic will overrun the government, or one religion, or some Western can come in, or even Eastern now, anyone can come and change the governments, because once you are united, there will not be a way that we can be manipulated. I think you guys, you get my point. So what am I trying to say here is that you guys, go ahead.
Oh, what I was about to say, low hanging fruit for Africa, I think it's simple math, right? Black America of close to $1 trillion. The GDP roughly what 2.7, 2.8 trillion. The key is attracting us, right? Where if countries can successfully attract us through citizenship programs, I think the continent can go along. There's so many reasons behind that, but to us getting to a place where we need to be full that I was able to get citizenship and not only on over the last couple of months. For me, that's given me the energy that is given to really put my all into investing from a standpoint of not investing to the West and spend it there. Every in Ghana, I haven't taken it this year. He's going to stay in Ghana. All that money is going to be and that's the way I look at things. So
Yeah, for sure, brother Keith. Yeah, I agree with you, brother Keith. It's going to take and for Africa to move into the future, and if it wants to move into the future at uh, a rapid pace, it needs the African diaspora right now. The African diaspora has the largest Black generation GDP on Earth. And I say this from a standpoint, even just to tap into the Africans that reside here in the United States. Even if Africa was to bring a quarter of the population into Africa itself, you would see Africa's economics flourish overnight. You would also see that with the experience of the African diaspora, many of the brothers and sisters of this day and time would take more of an initiative to lower those barriers that was put into place by the colonizers, and also is a safeguard against the new neo-colonizers who are trying to take over Africa as we speak today. So being a part of that as a vanguard, but also bringing the GDP of the African diaspora into many of these smart city projects that are taking place there will certainly give Africa an edge. We saw this through the United Arab Emirates, how they were able to come together, create a nation overnight. And today is one of the wonders of the world, just based on the architectural development and a new age city that currently exists. We see this as being a beneficial factor for our African nations to lower the barriers that may keep the African diaspora from coming there, but also being accommodative. They must be adamant about assisting the African diaspora to get acclimated with many of the governmental policies, both politically and economically, so that we'll be able to form an alliance that could help be a beneficial factor for Africa moving into the future. We often talk about futurism, and it is very important for us Africans to understand what is the next move for us on the chessboard. And we are a major player. We don't always have to be a pawn on the chessboard, but also recognize, in fact, that we are the original kings and queens of the earth, and also must take responsibility to getting our people back on track. So, yeah, that's what's up, man. And I certainly see Ghana moving in that right direction.
Man.
Man, you know, brother Eugene gonna bring it to him. So that's what it is about, is to bring forth that vital information so that we can make informative decisions about what is needed and how to move in that direction. So as you can see, what's taking place, that is the certain reason why Africans from the diaspora has taken a large attraction to Ghana. And we see Ghana as being that pinnacle mecca that at least is making an initiative to get us back to the continent, but also in a process of forming that alliance that could be very beneficial for one another. So, yeah, we look forward to certainly meeting with you, and you continue to being a part of the New Africa Network and bridging the gap.
Well, thank you for having me. I hope to be in, and definitely the event you have, and I would love to join you guys. So please provide whenever you get the chance.
Yeah, we sure will, brother. And like I said, right now we have Ghana, who has extended a olive branch out to bring the conference there. They know we're going to be coming with 1,000 brothers and sisters from all across the world, because that's what they've been waiting on, for us to make the confirmation on where we intend to meet. And the brothers and sisters from the diaspora will be meeting with brothers and sisters on the continent. And so it's going to be a conference that's probably going to last pretty much for a whole week, which will include discussions around politics and economics and investment, and contracting opportunities. But it's also going to be cultural as well. We have many brothers and sisters that have been contacting me and saying, "Hey, brother Eugene, we want to bring some entertainment as a part of that too, And then we have our grassroots organizations. They've been contacting me. They say, "Man, the Black Panthers, hey, brother, we want to do a lineup of our brothers and sisters." And they've been in contact with the brothers and sisters with the South African economic freedom fighters. And man, they've been talking about getting there to do a lineup of our militia groups to be able to present an award to Dr. Julius Marcus Garvey, who is the standing heir to our great ancestor, Dr. Marcus Garvey, who had put our pathway on track, carve out a pathway for Pan-Africanism. And, Brother Monty hate the word Pan-Africanism, but we also say it is also Black nationalism, where we come together as a united front. And so, so it's going to be pretty exciting. And I'm hoping to bring in brothers and sisters, both not just the serious aspects of just coming to the continent, but also cross-sharing our culture and music and food and things of this nation. And this what bring us together as ethnic identity, how we identify as African people. So yeah, man, I look forward to seeing you guys. And Brother Imani, he's working very hard on the East Coast side of Africa. And we've got brothers and sisters going to be coming from all over, and they're pretty excited about for us dropping that bomb and letting them know where we're going to be at there. So we certainly look forward to having you a part of that. Brother Imani,
Yes.
I know it's getting pretty far in
Yes.
the dialogue and content that we're sharing on the network. Were you able to get the YouTube internet working for this, or is it still out over there in Ethiopia?
Yeah, as you guys I'm here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and there was some kind of misunderstanding. I don't know exactly between religions and government, I believe, but it's possibly ethnics/religions/government. So for that reason, they restricted internet, especially YouTube, and Instagram, I believe, Telegram. I think it's Telegram, and some other. But the website, as you see, is working very well. There is no problem. But YouTube is not working at all. So now back to the events you talk about. We have, there is some information we can disclose, and there is other information we cannot disclose about because you don't know who's listening. We own nothing in general. So Big Brother may be listening, and we have to do this. If Brother Eugene is not there or I'm not there, we're still going to have to do it. So the whole agenda of this event would be to bring back Pan-Africanism to the people. Pan-Africanism has been removed or took away from us by the governments and institutions. So if you are not representative of a country, you cannot be part of Pan-Africanism where we are today. And a lot of you guys in diaspora, you are not part of any government. So for that reason, we must claim our Pan-Africanism back. By the way, me here, I'm pretty much like African, but I'm also African American because I have American passport. So I understand it both sides as African who live in America and then live here. So I understand exactly what is going on. So we want to bring Pan-Africanism is ideology of African in diaspora. not Sylvester Williams, Marcus Garvey, this Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and other people who in fact sacrificed their lives, such as Dr. Khalid Muhammad and so on. Even Dr. Umar Johnson is pushing something today. Pan-Africanism was not really originated from Africa. Is originated from diaspora or from people of the African descendants. So how come then you guys get kicked out of this? Because you guys, you're not part of any government. You cannot contribute to Brother Keith. You cannot contribute to Pan-Africanism today at all. Where are you gonna? You gonna come as American, as U.S. government sent you? No. How are you gonna contribute?
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
So we need.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let my guest speak first. Go ahead, Chris. Keith.
That's why I kind of circle back. African serious about offering citizenship to them, and I think that will, bind us a little more, participate in Pan-Africanism, at least on a little more. So I think that is the key, and I'm always going to circle back. I can't be in a place that now I have money to get citizenship. We need to continue to take part in this African revolution. Go ahead.
For sure, and you have to definitely be proactive to be able to make things like that happen. But I also want to tell you this, Brother Money, we're a generation of Black people who are not afraid of what Big Brother think or feel. It has gotten certainly far beyond that these days. And as a part of our Freedom Fighters initiative, one man's revolutionary or one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. And we certainly understand this in our day and time as well. So when we speak about being consciously of what we're thinking and what we're feeling, and I understand aspects of keeping intelligence to yourself, but certainly to be able to express ourselves, we must be able to speak freely regardless of what superpowers may exist. It's all about fighting the power. You have to fight the power by any means necessary. And we are certainly the generation who understand this pattern. We can look back and see the measures that they played on our ancestors throughout history. And you have to know when the buck stops here. You have to draw the line in the sand to make your oppressors and your enemies understand where you're coming from as well. We don't need docile and intimidated people to be a part of the revolution. If you are feeling like that, stand on the sidelines and be a supporter. That's the best place for those people to be. But freedom fighters are not afraid to voice what we need to say and what it is that we need for ourselves. And I say this from a saying that my grandfather always used to tell me: a closed mouth don't get fed, which means if you don't say what's on your mind and what you need, you'll never get what you need and how you want it. So that's a part about having Black power in your own possession. But certainly to speak on the Afro diaspora coming back to the continent, we don't need permission, because that is certainly our inheritance, as well as it is African brothers and sisters who are on the continent. The colonial powers that put us in a position to divide ourselves and make us feel that we are different from one another. But now in our day and time, certainly in the 21st century, we no longer have to abide by the rules and regulations that these folks, measures that these folks, our enemies, have put in place to keep us divided. And we are a generation that's certainly not going to allow that to take place, not on our watch. That is what we are here for. And so our brothers and sisters on the continent of Africa, they understand that as well. And so many are very eager to cross-share and examine the things that have affected us all. That was the purpose of the meeting that we had in Washington, D.C., but also gave us the freedom to express ourselves by any means. And that is a factor for us to begin to heal ourselves from the oppression as well as depression that we often carry, the weight on our shoulders of our ancestors. But we also must understand the things that have taken place to dismiss our ancestors from growing those people who were engaged in that, those people and those countries that were engaged in that process must be held accountable, and especially in this day and time, by any means necessary. We place ourselves in a position to be diplomatic, but we also place ourselves as being available to be on the front line, and like I say, by many means necessary. So Black power to you, brothers. I appreciate being a part of this discussion and dialogue, Brother Keith, and you coming on. You are based in where here in the United States?
PA. We got a Super Bowl on Sunday, so.
Yeah, that's right. Y'all sure do. Y'all carrying the ball
Yeah.
for this football season. Yeah, so we're gonna see what them brothers gonna do tomorrow. That's for sure. It's coming up on Valentine's Day. I believe Valentine's Day and Super Bowl day is all on the same day. So if y'all brothers hadn't rushed out to get y'all ladies some good candies and flowers, and y'all ladies do the same, because you know, brothers like us, we need love too. So certainly go out and get your loved one a Valentine's Day present to let them know that you love and care about them. And so, yes, we were getting along here to get closer to the end of the dialogue and conversation that we've had tonight. Anything else you'd like to share, Brother Monty or Brother Keith, before we get to the end of the program?
I think we should. I think we've touched on everything that we could. Really,
that's for certain.
Really
that's for certain.
Good conversation with you guys.
Well, I had one brother just hit me here on the internet, and he was wanting to know a little bit more about the AFCTA, which is the African Continental Free Trade area. It is a initiative plan that was put in place. It consists of 55 countries that is a part of the African Union, and it have 8 regional economic communities that are engaged. And with that, as a continental market population, which consists of 1.3 billion people combined with a GDP of 3.4 trillion, the Continental African Free Trade Agreement Initiative is a flagship project that was put in place that's supposed to last up to 2063. And this is a process where we are bringing, it is bringing manufacturing and strategic and transforming development of the continent and to bring Africa into being a global superpower. So, like I said, we are the catalyst to this mechanism that is taking place, this initiative. The African diaspora, with our education background and experience that we have to come together with our brothers and sisters in Africa, and I also want to enlighten the world, because many of the African diaspora think it is that we have to come to Africa and train and teach the people what's going on in the world. But our brothers and sisters over there, they're very highly educated, just like we are. They are there to put measures in place, and we don't have to go there and teach and train them nothing. They are ready to hit the ground floor running just like we are. And certainly with our combined resources, this is where we are benefactor we're a benefactor to each other. So we're certainly going to make this happen on our watch and time. American Network, Media Broadcast Network, and also the Black Panthers here in the United States. Power brothers and sisters, you tuning in, and we'll see you next week sometime. And Black Power.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us, Brother Keith. I appreciate you from here at Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Please be sure that you share your media if there is any contacts or any links or any YouTube or any TikTok or any Instagram or things like that, so that we can display that. We can display those on our social media, so people can reach out to you. If anyone may be interested to buy a house in Sierra Leone, definitely they should be. Then they can be able to actually buy that in or join you, something like that. But I think I'm gonna have to post that then. But before I do that, just because I have to wait to process that, I just want to tell you guys what we are doing here in Ethiopia, which is pretty much our movement or our agenda here is to just advocate Kiswahili. As you know, there is no pretty much any revolution without means of communication. So as African, we have so many languages. I think suppose they call that almost like a bad problem, but it's actually it's a blessing. We have so many languages, so we have decided to take one of the languages that will help us to be able to understand each other, and that is Kiswahili. But we also have we also advocate the language to be included in school curriculum, so that everyone, not only in Ethiopia, but all over Africa and in diaspora, every one of us should be able to have the language at least 20%, so you can communicate with the rest of African. Because now we are using English, but you don't know how much population that we are leaving out who speak it. What is this language? Cree, whatever it is, the language they speak
Creole.
in Ghana. Cree,
Creole.
yeah, no, that is in
French. Creole is
Brazil.
French, I believe.
That would be
Right.
in Haiti. Creole, that would be in Haiti, yeah. But there
Right.
is another one they speak like Twi something in Ghana, Twi something like that.
Tree. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you don't know how many people who speaks Spanish and Portuguese that we are leaving out. That we don't really, we're not reaching out. So we have to actually be able to figure out the part of the language. If you go in Mozambique, for instance, or Angola, obviously those who get a chance to go to school, they speak Portuguese, and that means your English is not gonna help you at all. And if you go in Senegal or Madagascar or or Congo, both Congos, Congo Kinshasa and Brazzaville, obviously those who get a chance to go to school, they speak French and the other local languages. As you guys, we have more than 3,000 languages as local languages or our indigenous languages. So we have a problem of communication. To get a message across is so difficult to get that done. And so we have to kind of cut that problem off. Our people who come before us, there is no one single Pan-African or African nationalist or Black nationalist who never figured out the issue of language. Kwame Nkrumah was the first one to advocate Swahili, by the way, in West Africa. Still today, the University of Accra is still teaching Kiswahili since 1960s. Here in Ethiopia in 1941, they were actually broadcasting Kiswahili on radio station for revolution. People who were coming to fight for independence, they were using Kiswahili here. You see Dr. Maulana Kalenga of US in California, he actually advocated Kiswahili since 1966 until today. That's where you get the Kwanzaa one is driven. All those are driven from Kiswahili language. And when you come to Nyerere, he pushed Kiswahili as well. You come to South African. In fact, even South Africa is the most of advocated Kiswahili advocate country today than any country in the world. It's not Tanzania that is advocating Kiswahili, it's South Africa. So we have to come up with one common language for ourselves so that we can communicate. That's why I left everything in America and I come to here, Ethiopia, to struggle and to see if they can include Kiswahili in school. Because if it's not in school curriculum, if it's not taught from primary school to universities, it's not gonna work. So we need to teach that in our schools. By the way, also almost Black schools in America, being the top one, Howard University, they do teach Kiswahili, and they send students to learn Kiswahili in Tanzania. Each year, at least 200 students are sent to Tanzania from Howard University each year to learn Kiswahili. So it's something that has been happening. It's just not been broadcasting, because that's the power. Once you have the language, you have power. You have you can control. In West Africa, it's not running very well, so we need more advocacy there so that people can come on board. But that's what we are doing here. But we are also doing other like humanitarian things. I think Eugene told you about that. We are planning to actually, we created Pan-African calendar. Which every time, if you like, we remember Marcos Garvey, that day we will be feeding people here. If we remember Dr. Khalid Mohammed, that they would be feeding people here. If we remember Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, that they would be feeding people here. So we want you guys to help us. 100, it's a lot of money to buy food that we can feed people for one day. So please be with us so we will not be demonstrate that we honor and respect Dr. Kwame Nkrumah or Marcos Garvey or Martin Luther King or Malcolm X just to talk. No, we have to feed people, and then people will say, hey, today I ate on the day of Malcolm X, I ate. You know, but some people are hungry. So that's our agenda. That's what we are planning to do as humanitarian to help our people, and also to bring the awareness about what happened. So pretty much, I think that's what I was going to say. As you can see, I put your information on there. So if anyone want to contact you, the information is sliding down there, so they can definitely found you, and they can also follow you on media. I see you only give us YouTube, and I do appreciate for that. Thank you so much for joining us, Brother Keith. I will be happy to talk to you very soon. Maybe after like 2 or 3 months, we should be able to come back to you and discuss with you. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to being back on.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, brother.
All right. Thank you, and have a good night.
Black power.
Black power.
All right.
Black power. Black power. Black power. We have given up the booths for laptops. We have given up the meetings for memes. Brothers and sisters, we will not liberate our people, as Dr. Khalid showed us. We will not liberate our people on social media. We don't even own the engines that we use. Dr. Khalid exemplified more than anyone in recent modern history the need to get out and touch and meet your people and interact with them. I don't have a YouTube page. Some of y'all don't know that because I'm probably the biggest name on YouTube and I don't have a page. Because there's no need for a page because there's so much work that got to be done in the street. How do I have time to sit around making videos? It doesn't make sense, brothers and sisters. We're losing. And part of the reason we're losing is because we've grown politically lazy. Let's be honest. You'll hustle for your business. You'll hustle for your family. You'll hustle for yourself. But you don't hustle for the people. I started the new year in Buffalo and Rochester. And someone made the comment that Dr. Umar, you're one of the only scholars we see come to the small places. Can you explain why you're one of the few who will go to the small places? Everybody else only know the big cities. Everybody love New York and DC, LA, Houston, Atlanta, Chicago and Detroit. Why they don't come to us? I said, to be honest with you, brothers and sisters, because there's not enough money in it.